welcome to Walker Tea Review. I'm Jason Walker here with another tea to explore, get into, try out, experiment, see if it's going to be your preferred cup of tea. I'm going to scoop out enough to fill the bottom, the bottom diameter, the bottom inch and a half of my 3-ounce Kuan here. That looks pretty good. Water's been brought to an early boil. I started to just enough to kind of rumble, not a full rolling boil. I want to add enough, and yeah, that's good. My leaves are getting swept underneath the surface of the water, so they're getting coated in water, saturated well. Helps them steep a little more consistently. So set that to the side. Actually, just a splash more will work. Gives me a little bit of a water above the rim, gives a kind of seal. Keeps the air out, keeps the air from changing the color of the liquor as it sits there. So, introduce this tea. This is from Journeyman. This is and I'm not going to try to pronounce, it resembles, and it's from the family of Guanin, but it looks like Dec2014, which sounds to be the Thai pronunciation of Guanin. This is 1 ounce for $8.25, currently on the Journeyman website. And this is from the Thai tea I can't pronounce it. Surirun Gardens in Chiang Rai province of Thailand. I'm all tongue-tied today. It is a Guanin cultivar. So this is actually a Guanin cultivar, and then the tea gardens there in Thailand. So this is kind of a newer endeavor. You don't see or hear about a lot of Guanins on large-scale production in Thailand. And so they brought in Taiwan tea processors, experienced tea processors from Taiwan, to help train them and teach them how to best produce this tea, make this tea. So, when we're talking about this tea, the dry leaf, the wet leaf, and the liquor. Scooping out enough here. Look at the dry. Nice roasty notes, kind of slightly honeyed, caramelized sugar kind of notes coming off. Rich kind of moving on towards a seasoned, dry woodiness, kind of roasty type smell. So this seems to be more fired or more heated than there can be a range of what is or how oolongs get processed, but this one is more on the roasty aspect. The colors here indicate that as well. You get a kind of a duller, drabber, olive drab type green. You get some brown notes moving over towards a bit of a pale, faint, or light bister type color, kind of a brown-gray type color there. What else? Size-wise, these look to be more than one leaf, and they're fairly consistent. In this particular scoop, fairly consistent in size. So these are fairly large, again, more than one leaf, and you can see the stem there as well that's twisted and wrapped up into these rolled or balled oolongs. So stem indicates this is going to be more, 2, maybe 3 leaves in a lot of these cases. So we'll see more of that as I look at the wet leaf here. So let me just kind of close this up and set it off to the side. Get ready to pour now. Angle my lid over, get my pitcher ready, and there we go. Nice, smooth, even pour. Shake out those last few drops there. Now get into this wet leaf a little bit. Give that a shake. I chose the Kuan because this tea, its heritage is more of a Chinese style. So that's why with a lot of the Chinese style of teas, I often use the Kuan. Again, nice, sweet, roasty notes, honey roasted peanut coming out. warm, toasty aspect still. A bit of that seasoned, dried firewood kind of smell. But sweet. Sweet is the dominant aspect here. Still, honey roasted peanut is the more dominant. Let me pull out a few of these leaves and look at them. They have brightened up. They're more consistent in their greenish color now. Leaf portion here, or perhaps a full leaf, actually a leaf portion. A little part of leaf got torn off, likely due to the processing. There's a lot of rolling that goes on. With a lot of rolling, you get more damage to leaves. But you need that rolling to get the oxidation levels to the desired degree in a lot of cases. Here, again, 2 leaves intact, a little bit ragged though. Fairly brittle. It's tearing apart fairly easily in my hand here. The other thing I'm noting here is, after this one steep, and it was, a couple to 5 minutes, these have pretty much fully unfurled. Not a lot of unfurling that's going to happen. Nothing really left to happen in subsequent steepings. So here's another one, leaf, and a bit of what looks to be it looks like there was a bud or needle attached there, but it's gone now. So there's a couple of leaf sets, individual leaves. I expected more leaf, 2 leaves, 3 leaves sets, but at least in this sample here, I didn't get as much as I expected, although they're there. So, set that aside, get into the liquor. Let me give this a swirl. A nice, rich, amber, honey type color there. Still those same rich honey roasted sweetness, honey roasted peanut sweetness coming out. Still lightly toasted bread in there coming out as well. I'll give this a sip. Okay, the same roasty sweetness there is present. And then what hits in the back is a stronger pop of astringency, and it's kind of coating the tongue, the front, and especially around the tip of my tongue. It's getting a stronger, dry type astringent feeling there. Along with that aftertaste, I'm getting a thicker, kind of moving from a powdery to a bit more thicker, heavy broth type of feel, especially on the sides, from the middle on back of my tongue. So it gets a bit of a heft there in that sense. Aftertaste, the taste-wise drops off fairly quickly from the front through to that early aftertaste. You're still getting a lot of that kind of roasty aspect. You're getting some of that English laurel, dried grapevine kind of woodiness there, along with the honey roasted peanut type of nutty, sweet, toasty sweetness, roasty sweetness there. Let me give it one more shot. As it cools, it's likely to fluctuate a little bit there. Yeah, as this cools, astringency drops off. The silkenness, the feel, the texture, the mouthfeel of this tea becomes smoother as well. So it does get a nice again, rich kind of brothy feel to it. So this aroma-wise, flavor-wise, still in that same category. I would say the coolness kind of picks up a little bit. It amplifies a cooling sensation along with a bit of a burst in sweetness, or a bit of a richer honey-like sweetness. So you get this feeling that you just dropped a drop of honey has fallen onto your tongue. So looking at this tea as a whole, it's got a little bit of a nuance to it. As it cools, its character, the finer points of its character jump out a little bit more. It's one of these that, from initial glance, you may not think that much of. Well, there's quite a bit here to think of, but it may not come out as at first sip or at first glance. The fact that this tea opened up and unfurled so quickly, for example, may give you the wrong impressions. That as you kind of tinker with this, you can pull out some very nice notes. Something to also to comment here is, as this cools, the aftertaste seems to have picked up as well, so that I still get a nice thick coating on my tongue, a very faint kind of residual sweetness in the back of my mouth. So that's picking up a little bit there. So this tea overall, I'd probably give this one, this one's tough, I would probably give this one, I would give this one an 89. It's got some nice components to it. Is it in the category of some of the other crafted Taiwanese oolongs, which this one kind of picks up some of its heritage from? That's for you to decide. There are some elements, yes, some maybe not. So that's why you'd want to check out this tea for yourself to see if it's one that you want to tinker with and explore on your own. Come back to Walker Tea Review to find more teas like this and beyond.